Good morning everyone. I'm in Florida at the moment. It is my first video of 2019, so I thought I'd start the new year with an all drugstore makeup tutorial using L'Oreal only products. So I went to Ulta. I've never been to Ulta and I was very focused on just getting L'Oreal products and I was very good. Ignore my curling iron burn right here. I don't know how we're gonna be able to cover that, but we'll do our best. I'm going to start off with foundation because I normally don't use primer. This is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi in the shade W5 Warm. I had a little bit of sun, so hoping this works. This is also a Tweezerman sponge. It was on sale for like $4.50, so picked it up. It's very dense though, so I don't know if I'll love it, but we'll see how it applies the makeup. Now I'm gonna oh, maybe I put too much on. So far so good. It just feels very dense, like an exfoliating sponge. Maybe it is. Shoot, I didn't even read the packaging. I'm not a fan of putting foundation on my forehead just because I feel like my skin is even enough up there, obviously excluding my burn at the moment, but if I don't need to put foundation somewhere, I tend not to, just so that it aids to that natural look. And so far I really like this foundation. I normally get True Match, like the non-Lumi one, because I have oily skin and you just tend to stay away from oilier products, or glowy products I mean. But so far this looks really pretty on the skin. Has a nice glow to it. A tad bit dark, but that's what concealer's for. Moving on to concealer, I picked up the Infallible Pro Glow in the shade 02 Creamy Natural. This looks like it could be a good dupe for NARS Custard, which is one of my favorite concealers ever. So yeah, the color looks pretty much identical to Custard. A little bit of a lighter consistency. Keeping it in the center of my face and on any previous scarring that I have that the foundation didn't cover. It probably would cover if I went in with a second layer, but because this is just like a everyday natural look, we'll let the concealer do the covering. To be honest, I probably won't use this sponge again. I'm not a massive fan of it, just because it's a bit coarse. But hey, it was only $4.50. Okay, so the coverage with this concealer is not amazing. I've had to go over this scar a couple of times with the concealer and I still feel like I can see it, which is not the end of the world. I don't mind if it's like not fully covered, but I thought the Pro Fallible line was, oh, it does say Pro Glow, so maybe that's less coverage. I don't know, let me know. I'm just gonna add a second layer of concealer. Just because it is a little bit lighter in consistency, it won't really clump up and look cakey. So when I was shopping last night, I was in a little bit of a rush, so I forgot to pick up brow pencil and setting powder. So hopefully it will be okay. It doesn't seem like it's too tacky. Olive's inside getting breakfast, so she's a little bit whiny at the moment. And then I previously filled in my brows, so let's just not mention that. Anyways, we're gonna move on to bronzer. This is one of my favorite drugstore bronzers. It's the True Match Super Blendable Powder. I have it in the shade W6 Warm, so it has a little bit more depth and warmth to it. It is more of a foundation powder, but I love it for using it as a bronzer. Also, I do like it as a powder foundation, one of my favorite powder drugstore products ever. I've used it loads in the past, so I'm just gonna use it with a Real Techniques brush, because you can get that at a drugstore. I don't think L'Oreal has brushes, or I didn't see any. And I'm just going to buff that in. Probably could have got a darker shade, but they didn't really have a massive shade range at the Ulta that I was at. Everything seemed to be sold out, so we're just gonna make do with what we have. I'm also gonna bring it over the apples of my cheek and the bridge of my nose to give it more of a sun-kissed look. If you didn't, it would be more of a contoured look, but because I'm on holidays in the sun, it just helps enhance that sun-kissed look. There is no shimmer to this, so it is quite a matte and flat color, which is, again, kind of good for using it as a little bit of a setting powder, even though it's not my color. For some reason, my neck hardly ever gets sun. Anyone else like that? Really getting in my hairline. Again, the sun doesn't get in there, so you don't want to look like you're wearing a mask of makeup. You want to blend it into any sparse, whiter areas. I'm also going to use the very tip of this brush and put it in the crease of my eye. I always do that with my bronzer. utilize it as an eyeshadow, especially a transition color, just because it's everywhere on your face. It will be really complimentary. Perfect. Now for my favorite part, it's blush. I picked a very, very soft baby pink because I think it would just look really pretty with a little bit of a tan. I have it in the shade C1-2 Baby Blossom. Has the tiniest bit of sheen to it. It's like a pinky peach, baby pinky peach. And I'm gonna put that on my apples. It's very, very light, so you can be a little bit more heavy-handed with this. That is a very, very subtle blush, as in like I hardly see it, so don't know if I'll use that shade again. Like very, very subtle. I wish I got a little bit more of a punchy color, but that's okay, it will do. Moving on to eyes, I picked up this gorgeous bronze pigment. It's the Chromatic Bronze Loose Pigment. I thought it looked gorgeous. I might actually even use it as a highlighter as well. Finger application is best, although I just put it everywhere. It's very faint in color. It's not very dramatic, which is nice for an everyday look. I'm just gonna pat it all along the lid of my eye and also the inner corner. A little bit on the lower lash line. I'm also gonna use a little bit as highlighter. It's gonna be more of a rose gold color. I'm gonna put some on, ooh, the high parts of my cheek. It's actually really pretty as a highlighter. Now moving on to a cat eye, I'm gonna use this eyeliner that I've actually never even heard of before. This is the Voluminous Lash Paradise Liquid Liner. I don't know how you can be voluminous with a liner. So we're gonna use it like a felt tip dip kind of liquid liner, which I'm okay with. I'm gonna actually use a smaller mirror. Just want it to be very tiny and at the very corner of my eyes. Very pigmented, which is good. I'm gonna flick it out ever so slightly inside. Don't know if I love it. When I flick it out, it kind of like loses pigment and it goes a little bit fuzzy, so it doesn't stay nice and sharp. So I already have to re-dip. Could be a little bit more pointy at the end. I think that's what would help it. I have to dip for a third time for this one eye. Although it's very black, that's a positive. Fourth dip. So that's one eye that actually turned out really good. Oh my gosh, excuse my ungroomed brows. I'm gonna try the other side, but I feel like I'm gonna be running out of product if I have to dip 5 times again. Hi Olive! Do you like Mommy's eyeliner? This eye seems to be a little bit more finicky. I've gone over the previous line and it's like taking off the product. So, make sure to be careful with that. That literally took 12 minutes. I'm looking at my camera right now. I will not be purchasing that liner ever again. I feel like my eyes are all sore from trying to fix it with my fingernails. But we got there. The positive is it's very black, which I like, but it took about 20 dips to even get to here, and it's not good for creating a very sharp line. But if you like it for the liner that you create, that's great. I am not a fan. All right, moving on to mascara. I'm gonna use L'Oreal Telescopic. As I mentioned, I do have a couple solo flyers of lash extensions left, so we'll see how this goes. There's gonna be some lashes that look a lot longer than the others, but I'll try and make it work. This mascara has been one of my favorites since high school. Everyone used this mascara. It was like the one to use because it just made your lashes look so long and it like coated every single one of them. I used to put on like 50 layers of this stuff. Anyone else in high school like obsess over mascara? It was disgusting how much I put on. Like my lashes looked so clumpy, but I secretly loved it. So ideally this isn't what I would love my lashes to look like, but gotta work with what we have. They're a little sparse and straggly looking, but it's okay because it's just an everyday look. Moving on to lips, I'm using this little guy that I've actually never used before, but my mom uses it. I didn't have lipstick when I was out with her the other day, and I used it, and it actually stayed on all day, so I was very impressed. I picked up a different color though. This one is Permanent Blush 117. You have the liquid lipstick on one side and then there's like a little bit of a lip balm on the other side because it can get a little bit drying. There are definitely some products in here that I'll use again. I do like the foundation, don't love the concealer. Same with the blush. Obviously I love this powder. I think I'll just use a darker shade. The mascara I do like when I have lashes. Liner, definitely no, but this Pigment really pretty as well for like a natural everyday look because it's not very intense. I hope you guys enjoyed my first one branded everyday makeup tutorial. Let me know in the comments down below what brand you want me to do next, if it's another drugstore brand or high-end brand. Would love to know, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day and happy 2019.